Welcome to the Keto Summit Show, where it's all about helping you lose weight, regain energy, and live a healthier lifestyle using a keto diet. Here's your host, Louise.
So welcome today. Today I have a really exciting guest who is a wonderful friend of mine, and we are going to chat about the secrets to successful meal prep. Now, Chihyu Smith, Did I say your name right?
Absolutely.
Good. I'm always scared of saying people's names wrong. But Chihyu is the founder of I Heart Umami, where she shares Asian-inspired paleo, Whole30, and keto cuisine. And she's also the creator of Cook Once, Eat All Week, which is a meal planning program that helps busy professionals save time and add deliciousness to their cooking. Her first cookbook, Easy Asian Paleo, which I'm super excited about, will be available in 2019. And her work is being published throughout the US, Europe, and Australia. And you live in the US, so you're very familiar with US cuisine. So welcome to the Keto Summit Show. And I'm really excited. We're going to discuss one of my favorite topics, which is how to save busy people lots of time in the kitchen.
Yeah. Thank you, Louise. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here today and just lovely to chat with you, not only just through audio, but also video. So we get to see each other too. Yes.
Thank you. Well, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, where your passion for food came from?
The shorter version, because I could go on to talk about food forever. I love food. I love eating. Growing up in Taiwanese, Chinese family, I'm from Taiwan originally, and food is such a just center of our daily life. If you're familiar with the Chinese culture, the way we actually say hello to people is, "Have you eaten yet today?" That means that shows every single thing that how we structure the family, how we get together and then share our daily experience all through food. So I love food. But I actually didn't realize I like to cook until I moved to the United States to study as a grad student. And so also years after I graduated as a grad student, and then I got married, and then having to cook for my husband and also prepare some food for myself, I realized I just, keep putting on weight. And I wasn't spending that much time cooking at all. I basically buy things from the store or maybe order delivery takeouts. And I was also studying at night to take on my second master's degree. I just keep putting on weight, and I realized I can just let the situation keep going. And on top of that, I'm not a super athletic person. I like to go to the gym, but it's not super hardcore, like doing CrossFit or, running in the park every single morning. I'm not that disciplined in that way. So I started searching around food that I grew up eating, I wanted to eat, which is Taiwanese, Chinese cuisine, and it involves a lot of Japanese food, Korean food, Thai food, etc. There are a lot of resources for information on the website, but I still wanted not exactly quite to the taste that actually I'm most familiar with, like my grandmother's cooking or my mother's cooking, how people actually really eat back home. So I started just playing around things and then making my own recipes, and decided to put it on the website to share, because my coworkers in the office, they would start asking me, "Where did you make this?" And so I just decided that's how I basically started my blog, and that's how I Heart Umami became, because umami means deliciousness. In Japanese means the fifth taste. Yep.
Yes, and your dishes are really delicious. I mean, people should just check out some of the comments and Facebook comments and people in your group just to see, people love your food.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So that's the whole reason I started my blog, actually, from a more personal reason that I just wanted to look better and feel better, stop keep gain weight. And then also in the meantime, I'm sick and tired of eating the delivery food every day. I know that it's not the best for me. It's always a very gloopy, a very thick sauce, and then the sauce actually is shiny. I don't really know why it's orange shiny color. It's just not that great for me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that Asian people do not get fat. And this is, I think, a common myth that we don't put on weight. And while we do have genetic benefits for sure, the fact of the matter is we do still put on weight like other people do when we eat badly. And when we eat a healthier diet, we can also lose the weight just like other people.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how that works.
Absolutely. I mean, a friend of mine, he just reached out to me the other day. He lives in Shanghai. And then he said, you might look at me, I'm a skinny guy, but he actually has diabetes. It runs in the family. So a person might look skinny, but like a skinny fat, sometimes it's even harder for us to tell what's going on inside of our body.
Yeah, and so that's how you came to the paleo diet?
Yes.
And the Whole30 as well?
And then shortly after that, I realized, because by the time I discovered paleo, it was already 2015. So the paleo was already quite developed at that point. So there are many, many recipe websites, a lot of choices available. But in the meantime, when a diet becomes very popular, it becomes a lot of mixed noises as well. And I realized, you can make a lot of paleo compliant food, but, still contains a lot of sugary sweets or high in carbs. And that's not exactly going to help me either. I know that. So, and as soon as I discovered Whole30, it's a 30-day reset program, basically help you eliminate all the grains and wheat, gluten, and then including sugar. So that's something actually a little bit stricter than paleo. So I thought, wow, this is perfect. I know my body doesn't do well with sugar, so let me give it a try. So that become my recipe is kind of in between. Sometimes I write for paleo only, sometimes mainly for Whole30.
Very nice. And then one of your specialties on your website and also in your programs is helping people prepare very healthy foods, but super fast so that they don't have to spend forever, in the kitchen every week. So why don't you give us an idea of how long you think people should spend cooking and meal prepping each week?
Right. Well, I would say actually it depends on your lifestyle. Some people only have time in one morning, maybe one afternoon, I would say about 2 to 3 hours to prepare a week worth of meals. And then some people, they might divide it to 2 different times throughout the week, maybe a big prep over the weekend, a smaller one, maybe by Wednesday evening. Totally depends. And then there are others, maybe they only have 1 hour, 1.5 hours available. And if that's the case, I usually recommend people do batch cooking, first of all, and then figure out a way to, after you batch cook, we don't want to keep eating the same thing for 3 days down the road. Figure out a way to, maybe repackage your food. Maybe from a beef stew becomes maybe a salad the next day, or maybe something like, low carb wrap or something, collard green wrap. So I also usually recommend people that if you are not familiar with big meal prep, maybe start with something simple first, that maybe your back pocket go-to dish, and then just prepare that and then double the quantity. And then it might be an easier entryway before you prepare a whole entire week of food.
Interesting tip. Yeah. Just start with one thing and
start with one thing.
Don't overcomplicate it.
No, don't overcomplicate it. It could be a slow cooker dish. It could be an instant pot dish, something you like very much. And double the quantity, because you don't want to make it too much, then you don't know what to do later on. So have that ready. And usually I like to prepare the protein, because the protein takes the most longer time to prepare. And then think around with little tiny side dishes they can go along with. Perhaps some lettuce around at home, perhaps is some salad dressings you have, so that way it's easier for you to play around with different combinations.
Okay, so you've mentioned this one tip of like going for one dish that you really like and doubling it. And you have a lot of great practical tips for people to speed up their meal prep. So can you share a couple of other tips you would suggest?
Yeah. Well, one thing we do is in my program, the Cook Once a Year Week, we do is we keep it simple. We prepare two main dishes, focus on the protein. You know, could be a beef mixed with chicken, for example, and then we double batch, and then use the same ingredient. We might give different seasonings. So for example, you buy a bulk chicken, we could divide them to two and with different seasonings. And maybe one's more for soup stew, maybe the other one's more for stir fry. And then we divide them and then throw them in the freezer. So when you actually need them, you just need to defrost and then a quick sauce and then put them together. And then that way we use that to create variety. So that's one way of doing it. So for example, if you chop meat, you chop all of them at once. If you chop vegetables, you prepare them all at once. So instead of preparing one recipe after another, you feel like you have to every time starting from scratch, we do them in bulk. So that's one way. Another way is you could do by perhaps instant pot, perhaps slow cooker that you just throw the protein in and then or same thing, prepare a bigger batch. That's in general basically what I would recommend people, but you could definitely start from one recipe first and then before you delve into the second one.
So what are some of the combinations you could make? Say if you have a beef protein and also a chicken protein. So, you know, let's say I cooked a pot roast for my beef protein, and then I, you know, poached some chicken breasts for my chicken protein. What would I do with that protein now to create variety?
Right. So for example, if your chicken protein is poached, that means actually probably on the lighter side. So that means actually it's easier for you to add on different dressing or different sauce to change up different flavor. So, you know, like what we do is, for example, you could one day you could dice the chicken protein and mix with, for example, avocado, low carb pesto dressing, and mix with some fruits and with some fresh vegetables. You can make it become a chicken Waldorf salad. And then the next one could be you could thread them and then put in some dry spice seasonings, and then you can pan fry them and make them turn to be more crispy texture. And then, you know, that could become just, you know, you could play not only just the flavor but also the texture wise. One's more creamy, the other one's more crispy, just create some excitement. So that's one way of doing that. And then for me, if I make something more like a pork stew, like a beef stew, something a little bit more soupy, you know, one day you can make a taco out of it. That seems like everyone, you know, everyone will love. The other day is a lot of the time after you make a stew, you have a lot of soup broth left. They are gorgeous broth. You know, you can dilute them, make them become maybe a low carb zucchini beef noodle soup, for example. So those are the things, just easy to think that you don't have to spend too much extra time to figure out what to do.
Those are some really creative ideas just coming off the bat, because you did not know I was going to ask that.
You can see how much time I'm thinking every day. It's just my whole brain is like, you know, and then I love what I do. So this is not something that, you know, I feel like I'm constantly in my own prison jail, figure out what to do. And yeah, but that's my job too. So.
Well, why don't you share some more recipes or dishes because most of us aren't that creative. You know, a lot of people have trouble thinking of what to eat tonight. So
right.
And you are a very, very creative person. So why don't you share a couple more ideas that people can go and, you know, make tonight in 10 minutes or less?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, if you come to my website, everyone new on my mailing list, we send them a 5 day of, actually 10 days, 5 way of dressing up a rotisserie chicken, another 5 way of dress up your steak. You know, I remember when I was working full time and also having a nice school, that, you know, we buy rotisserie chicken a lot from the grocery store. And a lot of time, the first night it tastes great, but after that, stored in the fridge, they just look like a dead chicken to me. They don't look that great. So we actually figure out 5 different sauces or different dressing, can put on top, perhaps the mushroom sauce, perhaps the pesto sauce that you can actually put directly, reheat up your rotisserie chicken to dress it up. Or maybe we'll turn it into a chicken kale creamy mushroom soup using rotisserie chicken. And then for the steak, it's the same thing. My husband loves the steak. He has to have a steak every day. And then the steak is easy to cook for everyone, salt and pepper, but we figure out around maybe, a French style, but still keto compliant mustard sauce. It could be a Japanese style sauce, that way it's easy to change out flavor.
Fantastic. So people can go to iheartumami.com and sign up and get those?
Yes, absolutely. We prepared a very beautiful, like little tiny printout. You can print them out and then just stick them to your fridge, and it has all the ingredients there. And then within 1 or 2 steps, boom, everything's there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So please go check that out.
Yeah, based on my research and also my audience, I think that to a lot of people, if you work full time, a lot of time it's Mondays to Thursdays are the most difficult days. Usually during the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I really encourage people, if you have any social life, to go out and meet family and friends, and especially it's a great day if you have your favorite cookbook that from one of Louise Hendon's so many beautiful cookbooks. Pick them and try some new recipes. Expand your cooking palettes and then skills. You might end up finding something you actually really love, and then become your meal rotation for the following week. So most of the time we gear to Monday to Thursday, and then a lot of time, you might find yourself by the Friday, you have a lot of leftovers. So then that's the day we finish up everything. And then over the weekend, we start something new again.
Amazing. So last question, can you tell us about your 5-day meal prep challenge?
Yeah, my 5-day meal prep challenge. Yes, it's been running around for a few years right now, and people love that. Basically, it's a mini version, a demo version of my program Cook Once Meal a Week. So during that 5-day meal prep challenge, we give you 3 recipes. So the third one is a no prep meal, because sometimes you just life will call you by surprise. You want something quick. That usually involves, to me, it's a seafood dish. I think it's good to broaden your protein variety. So it could be, crispy salmon fillets, with zucchini noodles and then lemon garlic dressing. So the other 2 days are, a chicken and a beef, just because they are more common protein for most of people in the States and people like. So same thing, we double batch for the chicken and also the protein that will cover you 4 days, and which day you want to serve them, so you can mix them up. Because what we do is we prepare the protein in bulk, we marinate them, we store them in the freezer, so you can use them whenever you want. Doesn't have to follow the schedule. And when you are ready to cook, the night before we defrost them. And when you're back, just cook them, and then the food is fresh and ready. And then every single thing is laid out for you, including a shopping list, down to when to prep what. So if you chop, say, garlic, you will chop all of them together. And if you prepare vegetables, then you will chop all of them together, which is divide them. So this way it saves some time, and then you don't have to figure out after you get all the grocery back, which thing to do first, that we already laid everything out for you.
Perfect. And this challenge, it's free?
It's free.
Okay.
It's free. Yes.
And it's also paleo compliant.
It's paleo and Whole30. And a lot of recipes on my website, they are also keto friendly. But I know in order to do a very strict keto diet, you have to calculate all the macro and also nutrients. But all my recipe comes with a nutrition label in the recipe sections. But for this particular meal prep challenge, all the meals are keto compliant, but I didn't provide the calculation. So if you are actually following a keto diet, it's not a difficult difficult to do a quick calculation, and you can find out that actually they are all very low in carbs and also low in sugar. Because one thing when you eat Whole30 is you have to eliminate all the added sugar, including honey, coconut sugar, and also maple syrup. But usually those are okay for paleo. So naturally it would be very low in sugar as well.
Fantastic. Well, I encourage everyone to check out the Meal Prep Challenge and also her website, so you can actually learn a ton of not just new delicious recipes with amazing flavors, but also a lot of really useful tips to speed up your cooking. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Louise. It's my pleasure. Always lovely chatting with you.
Same here. Hey, it's Louise from the Keto Summit Show, where we share practical tips and actionable advice to help you look good and feel good lifelong. So if you've enjoyed watching this video, then please click the subscribe button on YouTube and share our YouTube link with your friends and family. Thanks, and see you on the next episode.